Hey, it's Monday day at 8 p.m., which means it's time for another episode of FM Rager.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, I'm your host, Connor Quiston, joined as always by my lovely co-host, Ned Gale. Ned, how the heck are you?
Having a very tranquil time here in nature. Ooh, listen to it. You can hear the cicadas.
Listen, Rager fam, we're coming at you live from our front porch because this weekend we did a little self-care home improvement where we decided to put up a screen in our porch and a screen door, which we are just so goddamn proud of.
Oh, we
Let
are
me tell
so
you that.
happy. We haven't been bitten by insects in
Now check this out.
24 hours.
That's true. Now check this out. Ready? One. Oh my god.
Ooh, it's like magic.
It closes.
The thing closes itself.
Closes on stone.
One more time.
All right.
Is that a cool effect on camera? It's a cool effect in real life, and I wish you could see it, but obviously you can't.
We love it. Look, Ned, how about we get into the meat of it? How was your freaking weekend?
Freakin' weekend was pretty freaking great.
Yeah?
It kicked off. The weekend is forever right now, but Thursday kicked off. I filmed a set with Swimwear Department that aired today on the Old Humble Distillery YouTube page, and I think we're going to play it again from our own page pretty soon.
Okay.
But it was really fun. It was a blast. It felt good to see the boys again, play some music, distanced music, but we played over at Smithers Park, and it was a blast.
It was fun?
Yeah, we got
Great.
there, and it was every artist's nightmare where you get to the venue and someone walks up and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And you're like, we're swimwear department, blah, blah. And they're like, "Thought this was a photo shoot. You guys are a band?" And we're like,
Let me ask you
But
this.
it worked out. We did have permission. Everything was fine.
Okay.
All right.
So you said that's one of those nightmare scenarios for performers.
Yeah.
What are some other ones? What are like some
Some
show
other
up, you're like,
ones?
oh, god damn.
I've had a couple of that venue one where I'll show up at the venue and like an owner, like sometimes a house venue. I won't name names, but an awful house venue in Houston did that to us once. Like, we don't let people play shows here for free. You're supposed to owe us like money. And we're like,
Whoa.
"Whoa, we got the okay. We're good."
That's bananas. And this is a house venue?
This was a house venue. A terrible house venue. But what are some other artist nightmares?
I think
Not knowing it's outside and having to do comedy outside.
not knowing it's outside.
I would say. What are some
How
other
about
ones?
getting booked with like people who don't do what you do?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
you're like, oh, I'm the only comedian at this poetry night. Oh no, something like that.
Yeah, the open mic night that is billed as a comedy open mic night, but is truly just an everyone open mic night.
Ugh.
Guys, don't twist your vibes like that.
Mm.
That's crossfading your vibes. That's bad.
Now, like I said, we were talking about our freaking weekend, and we were able to install this and do some homework. Homework. Man, it's just really nice. We had a really nice Memorial Day. We had a barbecue out in the yard with neighbors. Everything was great. What are you guys doing for Memorial Day? Did you guys? I know our fans are pretty clever, creative people. I'm sure y'all came up with clever, creative ways to hang out and socialize on Memorial Day, or at least like did something cool and fun. Tell us what you did. I'm curious to know.
How you spending it? You sitting in your bathtub eating hot dogs? Because that sounds pretty nice.
That does sound nice. Hot dogs are what's up.
Yeah.
We didn't have any. We had chicken burgers. Have you ever had a chicken burger before today?
Before today, I've had one other before this.
I had one
the ground
other
chicken patty.
Yeah, I got it from Blue Apron the first time I had it.
Ooh.
This time around, we just like bought some chicken and our neighbor sauced it up, made it
Yeah.
good. What about you?
Where I had it?
Yeah.
I can't remember where I had it. It was one of those like mom and pop shops, like kind of burger shops.
Oh, Ellen Bodker's saying for Memorial Day they drank and watched the Golden Girls.
Ooh.
I have a confession to make. I have not watched enough Golden Girls to know all of their names. I know Rose, Blanche.
Goldie.
I feel like Sophia is the old lady. And then I don't know the name of B. Arthur's character. I want to say Maud, but I know
thought she was
that's...
Lazo.
She's not Lazo.
Pinkrat or something.
Lazo Pinkrat?
Yeah, Lazo Pinkrat.
That is-
I'm pretty sure that's her
That
character's
is
name.
definitely not who
Is
B.
it
Arthur
Kit?
goes by. Wait, Dorothy. Dorothy. Someone said, Knife Elbow said that they had a web chat D&D campaign for my friend's birthday.
Oh, that's
That is
fun.
very nice. That is very nice. As you guys know, we've been doing the the Call and Quest stuff, and that's really fun role playing exercises. So I'm a big fan of D&D. I'm glad you're doing that. Are you doing that digitally? Is that what I said?
Yeah, a little web chat
D&D
sounds like
campaign,
that's the perfect of the board games to like transition that way. It's the only thing you truly need is the dice roll on camera. Everything else you can flourish it.
We've got someone.
What are you saying?
The Sunday Sleep. I recorded the podcast with Trent. Gonna make a White Claw fruit smoothie.
Ooh. What kind of fruit are you putting in that White Claw smoothie? And what flavor White Claw?
Ellen Bodker saying, I also watched the swimwear stream. So she clearly having a good time today if she's watching the swimwear stream.
You have to see that stream.
Look, one of the things I love about this fucking porch is that it keeps all these bugs out. And when we came out earlier today, friend of the show, Rahul Rao, stopped by and he checked out our new stuff and what we've got going on.
Checked out the construction, made sure it was all OSHA approved.
And there was the point where there were so many mosquitoes trying to get in at once and they couldn't do it. And it was terrifying. We joked about poking your head out of it and turning back and it's just swollen from mosquito bites.
A full triangle. Look, guys, this is a VIP, a very important porch. There's bugs knocking on the door trying to get in.
Oh.
But no, it's not for insects.
Hang on a second. We're getting trolled here. First off, Sunday Sleep said mango White Claw with pineapple, peaches, and actual mangoes. Sounds good. But we're getting trolled by Cody 32 saying that green screen is legit. No, my friend. This is no green screen.
Why?
This is nature.
Welcome to the porch.
Ned, why don't you show them? Could a green screen do this? Could a green screen step reverse Purple Rose of Cairo and then do cartwheels in the front yard? Yeah, we see you. Yeah, looking good, man. What do you have to say about that, Coaster?
Yeah.
This isn't some Wile E. Coyote kind of thing where we just run in and then I go to turn into it and I smack my head and fall down. No,
you should try to do it.
Okay.
Do a backflip. Since I did a cartwheel, you have to heighten it. That's a comedic rule. All right, you guys get to see it on camera. The moment Connor breaks his shoulder. Whoa! I can't believe he did it. The stream must have. Oh, it looks like it didn't catch it. I guess the stream lagged. You're gonna have to do it again. The stream lagged. No one saw you do a backflip. It was crazy.
Our listeners know that they can trust me.
Pretty incredible. Well, they're spectators now, not listeners. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's been so weird. Hey, I've got a real honest question for the fans out there. If you, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we ate a lot of barbecue jumping.
We did. Our neighbor made some very, very incredible food. Not just the chicken burger, but a burger classic.
Fuck, I forgot my question.
About video to listener or
the
transition.
Hey, for our fans, what do you guys think about the transition we've made from KPFT to here? It's a little different, but
yeah. What do you think? Should we break back in and go there?
I'm curious. Oh, hey. By the way, I know sometimes y'all will donate to our Venmo and pay us sometimes, and that's really awesome. We greatly appreciate it. But this time around, if y'all are looking to donate to us or donate to anybody right now, if you have the ability to do that, hang on, I'm trying to pull this up here. KPFT, our old home, is actually going through their pledge drive right now, and I wanted to plug them right now. They're doing it for the next 2 weeks, and you can call in and donate at 713-526-5738. You can text the word GIVE to 713-526-5738, and you can visit kpft.org and click the red donate button. So, yeah, definitely KPFT. Without them, we would not have a show. We would not have what we have
We
right
would not
now.
be at 101 episodes.
We wouldn't have this porch,
screen.
this crazy screened-in porch.
We wouldn't have these
it.
riches you see before you
wait.
glowing in your face. What?
Somebody said, first and foremost, that the burgers were good. We should not forget the beans. Yes, we did have good baked beans.
The beans
bacon
were very good.
And then someone saying, James Medford is saying, I like that y'all can cuss on Twitch. I do too.
It is cool. And let me reiterate, I liked those fucking beans.
Yeah, I do not like beans, but I particularly did like these. What is your favorite I know technically we
Bean?
had burgers. I don't know if we can call that barbecue, even though it was on the grill. I feel like barbecue's more like ribs, brisket, sausage.
Well, if you're
But
asking my favorite barbecue, I can answer that for you.
it's turkey, right?
No. Turkey's my favorite accessory. I always get like a prime meat, like a brisket or a sausage, whatever I trust there. Then you go for the turkey. That's how you can judge a barbecue place. If they respect the turkey, you know they respect all the meats there.
Why? What makes you so sure about turkey?
Turkey's the kind of thing that you might throw aside. You know, it's not the first thing people think of with barbecue. Mm-hmm. It's the same way where, like, if you go to a burger place, it can be good, but if their veggie burger is good, like, it makes that place that much better.
Ellen Barker's thing, I love bean, woo woo woo. I love beans. How about you? I don't love beans. I like Jelly Bellies, and I will admit I did like the beans that I had today, but for the most part, I can't fucking stand beans.
That's crazy because they're such a magical fruit, and you, for one, love to fart and toot.
I do. I enjoy it so much. That's why I do it so often. And then someone saying, "Oh, haha, Cody, again, I can never see Connor out of breath from a fake backflip at the old studio. The future is now." Wasn't a fake backflip. I did it. The stream glitched out.
And you can see him out of breath at the studio. It's just the days when we're running late.
Yeah, I mean, or the days when I have to like get up.
It's the days when we still have half a beer and we're at Avant Garde and we're like, chugging it and running to the station.
That's nice. Avant Garde, and I hope they're doing all right. I hope everybody's doing all right.
Yeah.
This is so fucking weird.
Hey, if you're not doing all right, sound off in the chat.
Ooh, where
us
do you
some bummer
stand
news.
on black licorice jelly beans? First off, I hate jelly beans. They're not Jelly Bellies. They're different, and any true fan knows that. But black licorice across the board is a gross flavor, I think.
I can go through a black licorice, but I don't like. I'm not gonna choose it. But if someone gives it to me, I'll be like, I ate it.
I had a coworker when I worked at that ad agency for a little bit. I had a coworker there who brought black licorice candies to the office for everyone, and I always thought
as an experiment or like what was their plan?
Well, like the thing is, I think I told you about him. He was like the steampunky guy, and he and his
I feel like I would have remembered this.
Oh, he and his wife were like actors and did steampunk cosplay. I told you he had like
they were acting like
he had a necklace
rules.
that was like a stopwatch, or not a stopwatch, like a pocket watch, but it had a bunch of gears.
Yeah,
like a bunch. And I looked him up. He wore like a vest, like a leather vest in his engagement.
You didn't have to
photo.
say the last three things because I already knew that. You tell me it was
Okay, so
no, that's really cool.
No, it's weird. I thought it was so weird that he did that because nobody took them.
You know,
no one took the black licorice
Flavor
candies.
Flav could have transitioned to steampunk pretty well, and he like just added a few gears to his pocket watch, or not to his watch. He just made his giant necklace watch like a pocket watch. What do you got?
We got a pretty funny joke here, actually.
Yeah, send it over.
James Medford said, Anise Parker liked licorice. Get it, Anise? I do. I think that's very funny, James. Yeah, that's top notch. One of the things that we can't do out here right now is take phone calls.
We can't
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Well, I'll figure that out.
Do you think we could do that?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way. If you're a whiz kid out there and want to help us out,
Hey.
I think we can just start using the phone as a direct input to the
Okay.
mixer. And if we're using a phone, we can do call waiting and vastly change the landscape of what the show is right now.
That'll be great. Hey, also, if you're a home design whiz kid, why don't you give us some tips for how we can further expand our porch here?
Oh yeah, or if you're not a whiz kid, what should we put on this porch? I don't know if we can give you just a quick camera to just look around. So we've got some ample space here.
Ooh. Wow.
But like,
Look at all that.
I think a fold-out card table would be nice. We could play some games. I don't know what else.
Oh, man. Someone's saying, I wonder if this is the same guy who wears spats to auditions. Could be. And, I mean, do you have your cell phones?
We do have our cell phones.
I have mine. Oh, that's about taking phone calls.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we do. I just think that
That audio quality wouldn't be as
yeah,
fat and
it'd
nice.
be like directly into the mic. Which we've done at KPFT before, but we weren't exactly happy about that.
We want to provide you with the highest fidelity of audio we can, which isn't very high when it's streaming, but it's something.
It works. Y'all watch it. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. What are some other things we did this weekend? I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2. It's
What
been
was
great.
Friday? Did we do something fun Friday? Was it fun Friday?
Friday I came home.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, you got off early.
yeah, I got off. I did get off early. The boss was gone, and when all my work was done, I'm like, yeah, all right, see ya.
Yeah, bowl spinning.
Came
at the
back to
table.
the house. Did
Did you
Rahul
watch a
come over?
movie or anything?
No, I don't know what we did. We hung out.
I'm
Oh,
sure it was fun. You have to be jealous of us.
yeah, great. We played a lot of Warzone.
Yeah, I
Warzone's
think
been
we
really
just played a
fun.
lot of video games with the buds, with the crew, with the squad.
What do we got here? Great. Well, I think should we just go ahead and bring our guest on a little early?
Oh, sure, if you want to. I don't mind.
I think
Still
we
talking
can.
porch stuff, but yeah, let's go ahead.
Well,
and
to
bring
be
them on.
honest, it's getting a little humid.
Okay,
we
fine.
definitely need to get a fan on this porch. I'm dying in this swamp.
This
heat.
pig is sweating out here in this bayou.
Oh,
Mercy me. Well, we're going to
Lord
cut
of
to
mercy.
a quick song, let you guys chill out for a second while we put the camera back inside and get ourselves settled and get our guests on the air.
yeah. I'll give you guys a little bit of context for this clip.
Yeah.
So what this is, a while ago in like the 70s and 80s, or even before
Wow, that was a long while
Even
ago.
before that, yeah, tell me about it. There used to be these things called industrial musicals, which were companies and corporations would, for like their yearly conferences with all their employees, they would hire people who had a lot of trouble getting onto Broadway, or people who had fallen from grace at Broadway, or like
Performers, writers, musicians.
choreographers, everything that worked. Corporations would hire these people to work as a team to design a musical that would be shown at their conference every year to get people really excited. And what we have here is, I believe it's from General Electric.
Yeah.
And to provide some context, this is in 1978. So the 1979 energy crisis has yet to start, and people are grumbling about the Middle East and OPEC and how the United States is handling all that. So General Electric decided to put out a video and a musical so that you could stop worrying so much about other things and
So-
maybe get to the truth of the matter.
Goodbye.
You know, this energy thing sure does confuse a lot of people. I mean, one week it's a crisis, and the next week it's no problem. Well, remember all those lines down at the gas station? Then all of a sudden we have more gas than we can accelerate away. I mean, the gulf between our needs and what's available is wide. Its name is the Persian Gulf. Then, of course, there's coal, coal, coal. That's our goal. Until we discover we have more natural gas than we thought. Well, it's enough to make you wonder. One day they say, you've got to conserve. Next day they say they've got a lot in reserve. Well, what's the story? What's the truth? First they say, without any doubt, use any more and you're sure to run out. What's the story? What's the truth? Then they say, it's all right. Start your engines and turn on the light. What's the story? What's the truth? Give me the facts, tell me where's the proof. What's the story? What's the truth about energy? Now we're all caught betwixt and between the bicycle and the limousine. It's worse than the perils that plagued Pauline. We don't want to be outpaced. We want to produce, but we don't want to waste. What's the story? What's the truth about energy? About energy. Tell us where the best advice is. Is there going to be a crisis? Should we make some sacrifices? Cut the American pie in slices, lower the boom and raise the prices on energy. It's all a game, according to Hoyle. There's plenty of gas and there's plenty of oil. It's enough to foil Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. What's the story? What's the truth? But I know nothing about which I'm talking. You better sell those cars and start to walking. What's the story? What's the truth? Give me the facts, tell me where's the proof. What's the story? What's the truth about energy? Oh, about energy. When we're at home and at the plant, they say to cut back, but
I can't.
you mean you won't?
Okay, I won't.
Can you believe him?
You know, I've got a lot of things to do. I've got places to go. I've got a lot of living to do.
Oh, geez, Louise.
Wow.
Does that guy remind you of anyone? I got places to go. I got a life to live. God, the protesters are really driving me crazy. They're just like,
Wait a second, what?
the protesters are driving me nuts.
Yeah.
It's like they're a huge joke. They're just a bunch of clowns.
Is this part of your transition for the guest
And
or your
our
transition
guest
into
today
an evil
is
man?
also a clown who likes to tell a lot of jokes, and he's recording an album. And you've seen this guy before if you're a fan of the show. We love this guy. We're very excited to have him back on in this new digital landscape. Please, everybody, give it up for Will Abeles. Hey, buddy.
Oh.
How are you?
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
Oh, fantastic. I'm glad we dressed the exact same. I even had a chance to change, and I didn't do it.
The amount of hats I've been wearing just since this quarantine has started, because my hair is always just like out every direction, and right before the show starts, I'm not going to take a shower. I'm just going to throw on a hat.
Yeah, when I talked to you earlier, I was like, I'm going to shower, I'm going to look presentable, and then an hour went by, and here we are.
Oh, shit. Phone calls coming in.
Oh, man. So, Will, I wanted to ask, you have been hosting a series of shows during this pandemic that's got a delightful little twist on it. Ned was on it. It was very, very funny. Can you tell us a little bit about what this show is?
Yeah, so it's basically, I guess I'll give a little backstory leading into it. So last time I saw you guys, I was in the middle of the first leg of a national tour. And then I was on my way out to LA. I actually announced the album on your show, which is funny. And then I was on my way back to the East Coast, and that's when quarantine happened. So I got back, and I was like, all right, I got to stay motivated because basically what I was like, I can either stay motivated or I am just going to fall into a deep, dark depression. and like no one knew what to do yet, right? Like none of us, like we were like, I mean, like Zoom popped up pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
But like no one really knew what to do. So I was like, all right, well, quarantine wasn't like a full lock-in yet. So like it was that thing where like we didn't quite know how serious everything was. So like you might have like one friend come over and hang out, and that was about it, right?
Yeah.
And so we decided it was my sister's 21st birthday, and she was going to have to be lock-in, right? So I decided to do a comedy show on Instagram Live and make my family the audience. And they weren't happy about it at first. They really were like, do we seriously have to do this? But then, I brought all these comics on. They weren't all from New York. They were from all over the place. And it was like, wow, there's an opportunity for like all the comics I see while I'm traveling. I get to actually bring them into one place. I don't have to wait for them to come to New York or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So my family's been sitting in as an audience, and they've come to really like it. It's like their little therapy for an hour, and it started out as just like we were raising money for the venue that I ran my show back in New York. It's called Hey, It's a Comedy Show. So we were raising money for the Silverlight Tavern, and like it just kind of kept going from there. So each week I would pick a new venue, or I would pick a new comedy club or a charity. Like we donated to some nurses at some point. We also donated to like kids that were hungry up in Portland, Maine. So like it just became a thing, and yeah, it's been really fun. It's kind of like my little torture of my family, because I'm stuck here with them, and like, ugh.
Did your family go to comedy shows like very often before that? Were they coming to your shows frequently, or are they still new to the comedy thing in this way?
No, they're pretty good about going to shows. My siblings are 10 and 12 years younger than me, so it's a little fresher for them. So they really haven't seen comedy outside of if I did a show in my hometown of Hagerstown, Maryland, or something.
Yeah.
But my dad was pretty good about going to shows, even if they were up in New York. Like, he would come up every once in a while, and my mom's been watching for a while. But for the younger ones, it's kind of funny to see their reaction to some comics that I'll bring on that are very popular New York comics. It doesn't necessarily mean they're like fantastic stand-ups. So it's funny getting my sister and brother's like opinion on comics afterwards, and it's always funny who sticks out to them and who they're just like, what was their deal, you know?
I gotta ask, Ned, you've performed in front of this crowd. Will's family, are they a tough crowd?
They are a fantastic audience, to be honest.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I felt like they were very warm for every comic that went up. They laughed hardest at the person who obviously did the best bit for the entire night. And, they were great.
Yeah, I do find I have to keep it fresh for them. Like, if it's just stand-up, they kind of get... So that's why I like to mix in, like, a little character. Yeah. I like to bring the weird. Like, that's where it kind of... It's funny to see my parents, who I always thought were so straight-laced, but, like, the weirder the comic I bring on, the more they're like, hell yeah. That's why I asked you to bring on Ham Hands, because I was like... Despite this standing for everything I'm against.
The world needs it right now.
Yeah, I was like, my family needs it.
Have you worried about any, like, are you worried about your family hearing any, like, crass material or your younger siblings or anything? Like, have the comics had to change any?
Yeah, the comics feel more self-conscious about it than my family does. That's the kind of funny part about it is, and I tell them, like, I was like, guys, just run your set. Like, they really don't care, but... Caitlin Palufo, I don't know if you know Caitlin. Caitlin was on, and she's a little crass, but she's very high energy. And it was funny because she's telling all this blue material, but she would only apologize if she said the F word. So it was just hysterical because it was like, of all the things, and she even called it out. She was like, I don't know why that's what I want to apologize for, you know?
Another thing that was off-putting for me, I guess, like when I first did it, was I didn't know what to do with the camera. Like, for my performance, I put the phone just like on the table and then stood away from it. And then I was watching some people do stand-up, and they're just like holding their phone, sitting down on the couch doing it. And it worked just as well. Like, I don't think there's I don't know. It's a funny part about adapting is, like, you really don't have to be standing up to do stand-up comedy anymore. You could be laying in a fucking hammock doing it via video.
Yeah, so the more streams I started doing, at first, I was like, no, I have to be standing up. Like, I really was. I was dead set against it. Like, I was setting everything up so I had space to stand and do all that. But then, at some point, you do sit down, and once you're comfortable with, because I move. I don't move too much, but I move enough that if I'm sitting here like this, I do forget the material because there's a certain hand gesture or something that goes with it. Okay. But eventually you do just sit down and go, I guess I can just do it this way. But I do always appreciate when someone stands up and they set the microphone up.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like having to perform in this new digital landscape, but you're actually trying to record an album in this new digital landscape.
Doing the full shebang.
What is that like? How can you give us an idea of what you've got planned for it?
Yeah, so the way that came together was, so the original plan was, like I said, I was on this national tour, and it was supposed to end on May 29th in Portland, Maine, and I was going to record my second album there at the comedy club that I first headlined a couple years ago. So I was like, okay, it's kind of cool, came full circle, sweet. Yeah. And then it actually, the tour kept moving into July. That's beside the point. So this came together because I was, I'm bummed. I'm bummed that I wasn't going to be able to do that. I was bummed that I had to cancel all these shows and everything that I worked towards. But I did a show with a producer in Nashville who was setting me up with some of my shows in April. And she reached out to me and was like, hey, I kind of want to set up a Zoom show, but I haven't really done it. Would you mind sort of just walking me through a little bit? And we did the show. It was so much fun. It was just, I was with comics I hadn't performed with. They were from Nashville and LA and all over the place. And afterwards, I was the quote-unquote headliner of it. Even though with some of the comics on it, I had no right to be the headliner on it. But it felt good. Like, I was telling jokes, and then because we kept it, we didn't keep it spotlighted on me. We had it moving around. When someone laughed, it would go to them. and it just felt
That's nice.
like this little slice of normalcy again, right? And so I rewatched the show later, and I was like, man, that might be the thing, you know, like, because we're not going to be able to tape any specials anytime soon. Like, albums are almost completely out of the question. So I reached out to that producer and I said, you know, I have this idea and I think it can work. Like, do you want to try this? Like, would you run the Zoom account for me and just let me, you know, do the recording? So what initially was just going to be an album recording, I don't want to say it's a special because it's not that, but it is a Zoom recording. You know, it's something of its own now. It's just like
first of its kind. Yeah.
Right. It's just a product of what we're all kind of stuck in right now. So the hardest part is adjusting for the laughs. Like that has not changed at all, even out of 2 months of doing the streams, because there is always a slight delay. My timing's a little off because I haven't been on the road, you know, doing my longer sets and that kind of thing. So that's been something I've been getting over. But it's, you know, it's not that. It's obviously very different, but it's like very different over here. And this is like where stand-up live comedy exists. It's like somewhere right here. Like it's getting closer and closer to breaking through that little barrier into it. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And we've been doing some trial runs. And last night was the first one that I was like, this is going to be okay. This is not going to be like a full-on embarrassment where I'm going to regret even thinking about doing it. But yeah, the one problem, the outlier is tracking the laughs and just hoping everyone's internet connection is just somewhat decent. You know, I mean, that's the biggest part.
You need to get an internet connection sponsorship to where you can provide your entire audience with high-speed internet for a day to let them know how exciting Roadrunner internet is, whatever your sponsor is. Yeah,
yeah.
I definitely have some concerns about, like, you know, you're doing your album, you're hitting your stride, and suddenly you hear someone who's not unmuted who's laughing the whole time. It just goes like, hey, what are you doing? And like then that's on your album forever. What are you going to do about that?
Yeah, so that's why we've been doing these trial runs. And the producer I've been working with, she's a great person to bounce off of, because like what I haven't thought of, she's thought of. What she hasn't thought of, I've thought of.
Great.
I also brought in a couple guys that are audio engineers just to pick their brain and get a couple things. So we do have like a list of rules at the beginning of how to watch it. You know, like if you are with roommates and the roommates don't want to watch, unfortunately, even if you bought a ticket, you do have to mute it, because even though you're probably going to be paying attention, we can't account for that, for the other people in the room.
Connor.
Can you boot people?
And like there are certain things, like if there's a car that goes by or whatever. Kaylee's been good about trying to stay on top of the Zooms and muting people the best she can. We're not like, you know, I think the maximum ticket sales we can do per show is 60, so it's not going to get too out of control. And I honestly, I don't think we'll hit 60. But she's trying to manage that. But the biggest thing is I am recording my audio into a separate system from Zoom. So there will be Zoom recording me and the audience.
Okay.
And that is two taping. That's two separate tapings. So it tapes just my spotlight and also tapes everybody, which is how I'm going to be watching it, because I don't want to look at myself for an hour.
The nightmare.
I just wouldn't be able to focus, you know, because I would just get lost in my own eyes. But
Fuck off.
Oh dear.
Okay, so this is how comedy's pivoting. What are some other industries that you think are going to have to pivot into things like this?
Yeah, I mean, so one of my buddies that I've been working with a little bit, he works for Sony, and you know, one of his things is going to trade shows and trying to sell the merchandise and everything. And everyone is trying. So, like, say they have an expo that was supposed to be 10,000 people or whatever. You know, now it's like, hey, buy a ticket to our online expo, and it seems like a lot of things are moving that way. For TV and film, that's been an interesting conversation with friends, because some like smaller companies like Filmation or like A2 or whatever, they're just getting hit up to buy all their old stuff, because things like Netflix and whatever, they just need content, you know? So I don't know how it's going to move forward. I think it's going to have to just be like, okay, we're filming this movie in Australia. The entire cast and crew, we quarantine for 2 weeks. this is the limits for where you're allowed to go, and you do the thing, and then hopefully we can all go home healthy. But I don't know. I saw someone post that animation should probably
Yeah.
boot it a little bit more, boot it up a little
Some
more.
money into that.
Animation will have a boom. We've got one of our commenters here said that lap dancers are going to have to pivot. So
I think, there was like an article, some publication in New York was just talking about sex workers, and they're just like, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, I guess camming is the next way to go, or like an OnlyFans account or something like
guess,
that.
yeah.
We were talking about earlier how I think apps like Cameo or like Fiverr or something like that, you're going to be able to hire like a comedian of like, let's say we find Will Abeles on there. It's like, hey, we want a private show for us like Friday night, 8 p.m., throw you $200, and then just like set up the phone, get the boys together in quarantine, watch it or something like that.
Would you do that, Will?
Would you do that for us boys?
For the boys. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like I either do that or I have to find something else entirely to do. You know, that's been kind of the big conversation with my family is like when I wasn't working as a comedian, I was working in live television production, which doesn't exist right now either. So like I don't have a plan C really, unless I want to and I'm not against it. Like I was walking dogs and that kind of thing when I was back in New York, but like that's not even an option anymore, you know? So it's like finding something entirely different to do, you know? So I'm not against Fiverr. You want to book me? You want to book me to do a mic for $200, talking to a camera for $200? I'll do it. I don't have a problem.
I wonder how many people are going to pivot into like, okay, I'm just going to get in front of a camera for 3 hours a day and just share my viewpoint. And like how quickly that will decline into everybody becomes their own Alex Jones. And you just like subscribe to whichever conspiracy crackpot you believe in.
I mean, this was kind of frustrating. I'm glad you guys had me on because I reached out to some friends. I was like, hey, I need to jump on some podcasts, do this thing. The only podcast that reached out for me to come on and talk about the album, it was a setup. I got trolled. So they had to talk. And I was like, and I knew the guy and I've known him for years and he's always been decent to me, but I also know that he's like a massive piece of shit. And so this thing, like when he reached out, I was like, this is so against everything I know about his character, but I'm a very trusting person. So I came on and they had me talk about the album for 20 minutes. And there were a couple questions they had that I was like, that seemed off, but like I didn't think too much of it. Yeah. And then I signed off, they were streaming it on YouTube, and I was like, oh, I want to see how the rest of the podcast goes. Turn on, and then they just crapped all over me for the remainder of it. And I was just like, oh, this makes more sense. Like, this makes sense. But what just blew my mind, I was like, with everything happening right now, even, like, you still have to live in this negative little bubble. Like, I was like, I can't imagine having a world that small. You know, it was crazy. But, yeah, I mean, that's, like, this was like the third episode of their podcast, and like, yeah, you're right. Like that's what's going to start popping up. Is just going to be like, well, here's my opinion on stand-up comedy. His co-host was also like an open micer. It was like, what is going on?
I can imagine that show's going to last too much longer.
But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping like the podcast thing. I've seen some creative ones. Like Tommy McNamara released a pretty interesting idea for a podcast. It was like a limited series podcast. And it was like a musical podcast with like a storyline, and it was kind of fun. It was like pushing like an audiobook sort of thing. So in that aspect, I like that. But if it's just going to be a million podcasts with a bunch of straight white guys giving their opinion on whatever it is, like I'm over it, But at the same time, it's like we can't all just do sketch because it's not stand-up. It's its own art form.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I mean, I thought I would pivot into sketch, but it's just me and my brother Kevin. And I don't know if you saw the video I posted today. That's about as far as our creativity goes.
Did you see the SNLs from home?
No, I haven't. I've always been kind of bitter about SNL, especially the last like few years.
Yeah, give it to us. What, did you get stiffed on an audition or something?
No. God, no.
Ham Hands got it? Yeah.
You guys know me. I wouldn't stop talking about it if I had an audition on SNL. No, I think the people on it are very talented. It's nothing against who is on the show. Like they're all incredibly funny and talented people. I think SNL used to stand for one thing, and kind of, Trump gets elected, or even before he got elected, like he's, saying these horrible thing about Mexicans, and they have him on the show for ratings. And it was like and then like the next week they make fun of him with Alec Baldwin. It was like, what do you even stand for? So that's more my thing. So the SNL at home, I haven't jumped in just because I haven't really been on that train for a couple years, Yeah. But why? Tell me about it.
Well, they've done a pretty decent job of well, I'm sure Zoom's getting a pretty nice cut from it because you can always see that Zoom logo real big. But kind of putting people together in scenes and finding creative ways to make those scenes, I guess, work.
I just wonder how much longer we can milk quarantine life for comedy,
Yeah.
Like, even by the end of 3 episodes, it was like, okay, this seems like a recipe at this point, a formula.
We all are tired of Zoom meetings.
Yeah. We're all having technical difficulties.
Yeah, I would say like 2 weeks ago is where I kind of saw the like just this overall people just go, man, I'm exhausted from this. Not so much in the comics, like they seem to be still trying to do it because we don't have an option. But as viewers, it's like we can only, you just want the live thing so bad, Some people start doing like parking lot shows and, everyone's got their car around and like, yeah, I mean, that's close, but like that doesn't even look that safe, because it's like as long as everyone parks a certain amount like away from each other, but no one does, they park right next to each other. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I feel bad for audiences and I feel bad for comics because it's just like, we want it, but you just gotta stay safe right now, It's just it's not the time to, because like no one's asking me to record a new album. You know what I mean? Like,
not a deadline.
Right. Like this is just a thing where I'm like, all right, well, it's a thing I wanted to do. It's a product of the times. Like, let's try it. And it's not going to hurt anyone, which is what I'm happiest about. I'm not forcing something down someone's throat by being like, no, come to this comedy club and see me, like it's not going to be anything like that.
Man, yeah, I'm glad that you're able to find a way to be so creative and like not only for yourself but also are finding ways to include others and help others. Like I've been watching a lot of people go live on Instagram with their stress baking and what have you, but you have really been putting other people first in all of this, and I think you're really nailing it on how to be a performer in this world.
Well, thank you. I mean, I've been trying, and I've wanted to give back for years. Like the show I was talking about, hey, it's a comedy show. Originally was a charity show, and it got to like I just wasn't making enough money doing the show, so like I was just losing money because I was just basically paying out of pocket every show. So this has been a good opportunity because I don't know. Besides that one podcast, I mostly attract people that have like a positive energy about them and they want to help out. So people that are viewing it are happy to donate to a struggling comedy club or kids that are hungry in Portland or whatever it is. So I'm happy to see that those are the people that are kind of gravitating towards me for the most part. And that's why I get to like say, okay, and to pay you back, here is this comic from New York that you probably never would have gotten to see ever.
I got a hypothetical for you. All right, your material stays the same. It's very nice, storytelling based. It's great. It's accessible for everyone. Somehow, you can't explain it. No one can. Your biggest fan base is the Aryan Nation. What do you do? What do you do? You don't have to change your material.
Celebrated icon, yeah.
And you've done nothing. It's just like you're a handsome man, and you become the literal poster child for like a eugenics movement or something. What do you do?
Oh my God, I mean, thanks for like bringing up my worst nightmare. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, I don't do anything political for the most part. And I'm not that way. But like, I've had shows where someone comes up to me and they feel comfortable, like being like, "Hey, like, what? Like, God, I was in West Texas, and this guy came up to me and was like, I don't think what Kramer said was wrong. And I was like, the N-word? That you don't? I was like, okay, well, I was like, I completely disagree with you, but you're also 3 times my size, and I'm in a small town that you dominate. So, yeah, I mean, those people do surface, but like, I mean, I guess maybe just the way I handled that was just being like, listen, comedy's subjective, but some things aren't. And like what your opinion is, that's just wrong. You're just wrong. I mean, it'd be weird to have to fight my fan base, but I don't see myself standing by and letting that fly. 'Cause it's like I wouldn't want to be associated with them. So like, well, the only way to not be associated with them is to be like, hey, by the way, I don't agree with
This is
literally anything you're saying.
denounce them.
Yeah. So I guess I would have to denounce them publicly, or to my 600 followers on Twitter. I think that's who would really get behind me on this.
Get the message loud and clear from there.
So we're talking about material here. Are you pulling for this album? Are you pulling material from your past sets, or have you written new stuff in quarantine? You said it's about the time, or it's of the times. So I'm curious.
Yeah. So the initial goal was I'm going to record this album as if I was at Empire Comedy Club in Portland, Maine. And then after the first trial run, I was like, that felt awful. I was like that. It felt so disingenuous. Because it's like you can't say something like, "Oh, I called my mom," when in reality she is 45 feet away downstairs. You know.
To my mom.
Yeah.
So the majority of the material is everything that I was going to record if none of this had happened. But there are certain acknowledgments to, yeah, we're all quarantined. Like this is how it is right now, because there's no like you can't not acknowledge it. You know, it just felt so gross to try and pretend like I wasn't sitting in some room upstairs with a lamp acting as a light, you know, all this stuff. So I adjusted a couple jokes to acknowledge it. But anything that I've written in quarantine, I made an agreement with myself that would be for the future, because we're all going to be talking about what happened during this time. Like, not to be too morbid, but like my grandmother died during quarantine, and the funeral couldn't have been more chaotic despite having only 10 people there. You know, I mean, it was just like absolute insanity. So I was like, all right, but that's a story for later. You know, the story I want to focus on is the past 2 years leading up to this moment, and then everything I've written since then, that'll be for something in the future. Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Got some material saved up for the next one then.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice because the first album I did, the most terrifying part is you just go, now what? You know, that was everything. And so to already have a little bit of material kind of like put it in the bank or whatever, it does take a little stress off, because then you're like, okay, cool, it is time to retire these jokes, or however you want to address it. Yeah. So yeah, because that I don't think I would be as calm if I didn't have anything going forward.
So you're up in Hagerstown, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hagerstown, Maryland.
The pride of Hagerstown. Not too familiar with the area. What is what's it like up there?
You know, it's been fine. I'm out in the country, so like Hagerstown's a small city. It's about 100,000 people, but my family they're out in the country, so it's pretty isolated. Not the worst situation to be in for what I'm trying to focus on. Like I can go and take like a 5-mile walk through the country and not see a soul. So it's, you know, I'm a little bit blessed in that way. But in town, it's been okay. Like everyone was really good about quarantining. They're really good about masks. They're really good about gloves, and the grocery store was only letting 50 people in at a time and all that stuff. Like they were really good. And then the last probably 2 weeks is I'm starting to see it. Like, you know, I'm going to certain places and it's packed for no reason. And so it's been okay, but it's not New York. So it's a weird comparison, because my friends in New York are like, we cannot leave the apartment. Yeah. You know? And then my friends in Hagerstown are like, yeah, we're having like a social distance gathering outside in a yard, and we're all 6 feet to 10 feet apart and drinking a beer, and we're all in masks. So it's like, it's a little more casual here, but I'm like currently, it's funny because my friends and I have been arguing for like 3 days, because they've just been like, come on, just like come hang out. And I've just been like, I can't do it. Like, I just feel too bad to even see you from 10 feet away or in a car. But no, it's been okay, but it's definitely a different vibe than any major city for sure.
Yeah.
Ned, I saw you sneaking around on the computer there.
I sneaked around on the computer because I forgot. I meant to message you. Hagerstown came up for me on the internet the other day. I follow a Facebook group called Today's Alligator Index, and they basically post alligator sightings in public. So if like they're like, oh, an alligator was on the golf course again, they'll post it. But an article
was there one?
Not an alligator in Hagerstown, but it's a bird attacking a guy playing golf. Very intensely. Let me see if I could.
The Hagerstown Report.
It led to a website called Hagerstown Report with a bunch of just like animal attacks on it. Have you? Is the wildlife like intense up there?
I had never heard of this, and you just changed like my 30s essentially. Like the next 10 years just changed you. I mean, like I said, I'm out in the country, so like there has been some strange, like we've never had Orioles in the area, like the bird, like Baltimore Orioles. We've never had those in the area, and there's a ton all of a sudden.
Really?
A duck laid some eggs near our house. Like, so like there's been wildlife, but like it seems like they're getting real comfortable.
We've had gators just show up in Galveston, which is not something they normally do.
Yeah, the beach side.
And there are feral hogs in Clear Lake now.
Yeah.
Things are getting crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. The animals know something we don't. They're just like, listen, you guys are all going to be gone in 10 years, so we're just going to just stop pretending like we don't want to take the world back, and we're just going to start doing it.
Comfortable, yeah.
Will, what animal do you think will be changed the most throughout all of this?
God, I kind of wish you went back to the if my fan base was the Aryan Brotherhood question.
Which
what animal will be changed the most?
Yes. I think domestic cats.
Yeah.
So in what way? Because you think they're just going to be so excited to be alone again?
No, I think that their behavior patterns are just going to change over time because they're exposed to so many more people. I also think that or they're exposed to so much more human time. I also think that because everyone is showing that, I can work from home, we're going to have cats just like constantly be around people. Maybe they will hunt less. I don't know.
Become much more
But
dependent.
I just think that domestic cats are going to be all wackadoo after this.
Yeah.
My other answer was man. Do you want me to be an asshole? Like, I'm just going to say cats.
I don't know. But the thing that popped in my head, and it's like, it's sad, so I didn't want to say it originally, but it was like, I did see that elephants are being affected the most because they can't stop poaching. Or something, like, because I should have read the full article, but it was something like, because like they can't have they have the tourists looking for elephants, it's much easier to poach them because there's no one around.
Yeah, no one's. Oh, damn, man.
So that's what popped in my head. But also, dogs are probably in the same way as cats. Like, I used to dog sit a lot, and it was incredible how many dogs had separation anxiety. Now it's going to be all of the dogs have separation anxiety. I mean, and it's bad. They get stressed. I mean, they lose their minds and they shake and they like sit by the door and they bark for hours. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen, but I think dogs are going to probably take it worse than cats because cats don't seem to really care either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But dogs, I could see them like permanently just being like, so like you're just gone.
Well, what happened? Yeah. You were here every day.
All right, before we move into our final segment, the plug segment, do we have anything?
Anything else?
Do we have anything else?
I wanted to ask you, are you dressing your set for your special?
Yeah, that was today's anxiety attack, was remembering how much I have to do for that.
For reminding you.
No, so the room I'm in now is actually where I'm going to record it. It's going to be facing the other way, though, because I don't like these doors. But behind the computer is an electronic drum set, a TV, and like a poster from the 1996 Olympics, right? So I'm going to tomorrow, hopefully, get some black material and essentially build myself some curtains.
Hell yeah!
I have to black out the windows anyway to make sure it's consistent between the 7 and 9:30 p.m. shows because I forgot how the summer works. But yeah, so I'm going to build myself some curtains so that I at least have this kind of semi-normal backdrop. I got a good microphone. I got the stand and all that. But the one thing I was contemplating today is if I get a stool, if I pick up a stool, even though I think it would be too low to catch in the recording, it just would be one of those. Okay, that's there. That's always there. It's always going to be there.
It's a comfort thing. Yeah. Are you going to stand and everything? I guess with the mic.
Yeah, it's actually the funny thing is I've had to get used to holding a microphone again.
Yeah.
That was like, it was this kind of like riding a bicycle thing, but it was a little bit harder. Like, I mean, the first few runs, I was like, how did I used to hold this thing? What did I? I got used to doing this and moving around and not just being uninhibited. And it just so that was it. But yeah, I did get the mic, and that's been its own little nightmare, just trying to check those audio levels and everything.
Is your family going to watch while you do this? Are they going to sit in the other room? Are you going to sit off to dinner?
I have an Ethernet cable, so I'm tapped in directly to internet upstairs, and they'll be able to watch on the Wi-Fi downstairs. We got two Wi-Fis.
$20 like everyone else.
yeah, they have to buy in. Are you gonna have a family member light you or anything? Or you're gonna light yourself?
No, I mean, because it's an album, I wouldn't have lit myself. I would just keep going. I've been getting it was funny, like the first 2 runs I did half and half, and I was real nervous. I was like, is this going to be an hour and 15 minutes long? Like, that is way too much talking. That's just too much for me. And then last night we did another run through. I did the entire thing, and it came in at like around 50 minutes. And the one note I got back from the audience I had in was I could actually slow down a little bit. They're like, it was kind of we had to keep like stifling our own laughter because we were so nervous we were going to miss another thing. Because I don't know, I'm more in like the Gary Goldman school where like every word matters, and it's not like I don't riff, I don't like do crowd work or anything. So that was good. It was a good note to have. So I'm thinking it'll probably be 60 minutes, which is what I'm hoping for.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
All right, let's get into our last segment here. Hang tight.
Pull up the song. Here it comes.
All right, and here we go. I want a new plug. Tell us what's going on. Tell us all the stuff you're doing after we sing this song. Will, what do you have to plug? Will.
Well, what do you got to plug?
Am I supposed to do it over you?
No. We sing the song, and then you plug your shit.
Oh, okay. So if you want to check out the album recording, it's this Friday, May 29th. There are 2 shows at 7 and 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can get your ticket by either follow me on Instagram and go into the link in my bio. My Instagram is @WillAbelesComedy. Or you can go to deweycomedy.com/events. That's my producer, is Dewey Comedy Productions. And they, you can get your ticket there. And also, it's per computer. That's one thing that's been coming up. You just have to buy 1 ticket per computer. You don't have to buy for how many people are watching it with you, which financially is probably me being an idiot. But I'm here to bring the laughs, not bring the money.
Yeah. All right, what about your social media? Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Will Abeles Comedy. You can find me on Facebook at Will Abeles Comedy. And you can find me on Twitter. That's my hot one. At Will Abeles. You can find me at Will Abeles on Twitter.
And that your show, hey, it's a live stream.
Hey, it's a live stream. It's every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on my Instagram Live. And if you want to see what my family looks like and see our big clock we have in the living room. That
It is a massive clock.
I never thought about it until the show, and every comic says something about it.
It's the first thing you see. The video starts, and you're like, "Whoa!" Like it takes up the whole screen.
It's ridiculous.
Cool. Well, Will, thank you very much for coming on to the show. We appreciate it. Hopefully, when this will all end, and we'll get to see you either up north or if you come through on another tour or something. I don't know.
I know. I was supposed to be in Houston for a week in May, so hopefully we can reschedule that, and I'll come back down.
Yeah, man.
Please.
We'll be happy to have you.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with you guys, and you guys got me hooked to Topo Chico, so thanks for that.
Well, come on down and buy yourself a big old case of them, man.
I will, because it's very expensive online.
All right, Will. Stay safe, stay healthy. Break a leg on your album. Stay safe and stay healthy to all of our listeners out there. Break a leg on your life, and we'll see you next week. Bye.